The inviting waters worked the white line to England, a price put on a person with dark skin. Washing down onto the shore of Jamestown, the 20 and odd were nothing but goods. A system structured by the English, distinguishing all who enter darker than the other. Brothers lost sisters, sisters lost brothers, shaping the nation and culture they had to hurt. Africans sold, shipped, and slayed. In August 1619, a ship carrying approximately 20 to 30 enslaved Africans arrived at Point Comfort, present-day Fort Monroe, in the English colony of Virginia. These individuals were forcibly captured from their homeland in West Africa and transported across the Atlantic Ocean in brutal conditions to be sold into bondage in the New World. While slavery already existed in other parts of the world, such as Europe and Africa, the arrival of these enslaved Africans marked the beginning of a chattel slavery in what would become the United States. In the early years of the Virginia colony, labor needs were primarily met through the system of indentured servitude, in which individuals worked under a contract for a specified period in exchange for a passage to the New World and eventually freedom. However, the arrival of enslaved Africans in 1619 marked a shift towards chattel slavery in which enslaved people were considered the property of their owners for life, with no legal rights or freedoms. This distinction laid the foundation for the development of race-based slavery of the American colonies. Over the following decades, the institution of slavery became increasingly entrenched in the colonial legal system. In 1662, Virginia passed a law that established the principle of pars sequedaventum, which meant that children born to enslaved women inherited their mother's status as enslaved. This law, along with the subsequent legislation, solidified the hereditary nature of slavery and established the legal basis for the perpetuation of bondage across generations. As the demand for labor grew in the colonies, particularly in the agricultural economies of the southern colonies, the institution of slavery expanded rapidly. Enslaved Africans were forcibly transported to the New World in large numbers to work on plantations producing lucrative cash crops such as tobacco, rice, and later, cotton. The profitability of slavery led to its spread throughout the southern colonies and eventually to other regions of British North America. The institution of slavery remained a central issue in American politics, eventually leading to the outbreak of civil war in 1861. The Confederate States seceded from the Union in defense of slavery while the Union fought to preserve the Union and ultimately to establish slavery. The war ended in 1865 with the defeat of the Confederacy and the passage to the 13th Amendment to the Constitution, which abolished slavery throughout the United States. The 1619 Project had a profound impact on American history by shedding light on the lasting legacy of slavery, challenging traditional narratives and sparking a national conversation about race and inequality. The 1619 Project was created to celebrate the 400th anniversary of the beginning of American slavery. This project was made to confront the reality of what slavery has meant for the development of this nation. Led by journalist Nicole Hannah-Jones, the project seeks to reframe American history by placing the consequences of slavery and the contributions of Black Americans at the center of the narrative. It explores the enduring legacy of slavery and its impact on various aspects of American life, such as social hierarchies, along with the culture and identity. The 1619 Project investigates how slavery entrenched social hierarchies based on the race in American society. It examines how the institution of slavery not only establishes a clear division between enslaved African Americans and white slave owners, but also permitting through various aspects of life, creating disparities and inequalities. Nikki Giovanni, a collaborator in the 1619 Project, wrote a poem titled Refuge Poem No. 3, reflecting on the experiences of African Americans as descendants of enslaved Africans who were forcibly brought to America. Exploring themes of displacement, resilience, and identity, Giovanni's poem captures the struggles and triumphs of Black Americans throughout history. Clint Smith, another poet within the 1619 Project, created a poem titled Jamestown Arrival, imagining the arrival of the first Africans in Virginia in 1619, along with the profound impact of this event on American history and identity. Through vivid descriptions and poignant reflections, the poem explores the complexities of race and power, highlighting the foundation role of slavery in shaping American culture and the experiences of Black Americans. Phyllis Wheatley Peters was born in West Africa and was enslaved at a young age. She was transported to America and sold to the Wheatley family in Boston, Massachusetts in 1761. The Wheatley family recognized her intelligence and educated her alongside their children. By the age of 12, Wheatley began writing poetry, and by the time she was 20, she had become the first African American and one of the first women in America to publish a book of poetry. Wheatley's poetry gained considerable attention for its elegant skill and thematic depth. Her most famous work, Poems on Various Subjects, Religion and Moral, published in 1773, earned her international acclaim and challenged prevailing beliefs about the intellectual abilities of Africans and African Americans. The 1619 Project acknowledges Phyllis Wheatley Peters as a pioneering figure in African American literature and history. Wheatley's legacy is invoked in the project to underscore the richness and complexity of African American cultural heritage and to challenge conventional narratives about the experiences of enslaved people in America. The legacy of Phyllis Wheatley continues to inspire contemporary poets, such as Eve L. Ewing, and to engage with themes of race, identity, and social justice. Within the 1619 Project, Wheatley's poetry serves as a source of inspiration and reflection for poets exploring the complexities of slavery and its impact on contemporary society. Poetry within the 1619 Project amplifies the voices of those who have been historically marginalized or silenced, particularly African Americans. Through poetic language and symbolism, poets capture the complexities of these issues, offering a nuanced reflection on slavery and its impacts on a contemporary society. Poetry became a means of bearing witness to the struggle and resilience of African Americans in the face of historical ongoing oppression, while also inspiring hope and collective action for change. Eve L. Ewing, an author and professor at the University of Chicago, created a poem within the 1619 Project titled Proof, Dear Phyllis, regarding the first female Black poet, Phyllis Wheatley Peters, and the poem she created called On Being Brought from Africa to America. The poem Proof, Dear Phyllis, alludes to the suffering and hardships endured by Phyllis Wheatley throughout her life, including the loss of her freedom and the skepticism and prejudice she faced from her contemporaries, along with the personal tragedies she's experienced. By addressing Wheatley directly, Ewing establishes a personal connection to history, bridging the gap between the past and the present. Additionally, Proof, Dear Phyllis, serves as a reflection on the complexities of freedom, identity, and agency for enslaved individuals like Wheatley. Through the poem, Ewing acknowledges Wheatley's achievements and resilience, while also questioning the extent to which true freedom was attainable for enslaved people in Wheatley's time, and by extension, in contemporary society. Both the project and the poem aim to disrupt and broaden historical narratives, shedding light on marginalized voices and perspectives. Through the inclusion of poetry and other forms of creative expression, the 1619 Project amplifies the voices of marginalized communities, providing a platform for their stories to be heard and acknowledged. By confronting uncomfortable truths and grappling with the complexities of history, they challenge readers to reckon with the enduring impacts on slavery and contemporary society and to consider the ongoing struggle for justice and equality. Poetry within the 1619 Project has left an indelible mark on American history by serving as a powerful catalyst for challenging traditional narratives, amplifying marginalized voices, and fostering dialogue and reflection about the enduring legacies of slavery and racism in America. Through poems like Eve L. Ewing's Proof, Dear Phyllis, and others, the project has provided a platform for exploring the complexities of African American experience, honoring the resilience and creativity of Black individuals and communities, and confronting uncomfortable truths about the nation's past.